the most watched event on Earth, and it's not what you think. What if I told you that for 1 month, every 4 years, the world becomes obsessed with the exact same thing? Not a war, not an election, not a celebrity scandal, not even the Olympics, a football tournament. Sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. After all, it's just 22 people running around a field chasing a ball. Yet somehow the FIFA World Cup attracts billions of viewers, shuts down cities, empties streets, starts celebrations, causes heartbreak, and creates moments that people remember for the rest of their lives. Think about that for a second. Human beings have built skyscrapers, landed on the moon, invented the internet, and created artificial intelligence. And still, one of the most powerful events on Earth involves kicking a ball into a net. So what makes the FIFA World Cup so special? Why does it capture the attention of nearly half the planet? And how did one sporting event become the closest thing humanity has to a global holiday? The answer is much bigger than football. It's about identity, emotion, storytelling, and a strange human instinct that's been with us for thousands of years. Because once you understand why the World Cup works, you start to understand something fascinating about people themselves. Let's begin with a simple question. Why football? Why not another sport? Why isn't the biggest sporting event in the world basketball, or cricket, or tennis? The answer starts with one of football's greatest strengths: simplicity. Imagine you're a kid living in a small village. You don't have a stadium, you don't have expensive equipment, you don't have coaches, you don't even have a proper field. Can you still play football? Absolutely. All you need is something that can be kicked. A ball, a plastic bottle, a rolled up bundle of paper, a bunch of socks tied together. If it rolls, somebody has probably played football with it. Now compare that to sports like ice hockey. You need ice. You need skates. You need protective gear. You need a rink. Golf, you need clubs, a course, equipment, money, lots of money. Football asks for almost nothing. And because it asks for almost nothing, it spreads everywhere. From the streets of Rio de Janeiro to the deserts of North Africa, from giant European cities to tiny villages in Asia. Football became the world's game because the world could actually afford to play it. And when billions of people grow up playing the same sport, something important happens. They understand it, even if they've never studied tactics, even if they've never watched a professional match. They know what a goal means. They know what winning feels like. They know what losing feels like. And that understanding creates a connection. But accessibility alone doesn't explain the World Cup. The real magic begins when countries enter the picture. Think about most major sports leagues. The teams represent cities, maybe regions, maybe clubs. But the World Cup is different. The teams represent nations. And that changes everything, because suddenly, the match isn't just about football anymore. It's about identity. When Argentina plays France, people aren't just watching athletes compete. They're watching countries compete, cultures compete, histories collide. National pride enters the equation. And human beings are incredibly emotional when it comes to identity. A person who hasn't watched football for 3 years can suddenly become the most passionate supporter on earth when their country reaches the knockout stage. Someone who couldn't name 5 players a month ago is now analyzing formations, substitutions, and penalty strategies like they've been coaching professionally for decades. Why? Because it's no longer just a sport. It feels personal. If your country wins, you win. If your country loses, you feel it. Of course, rationally speaking, nothing in your life has actually changed. Your bills still exist. Your job still exists. Your responsibilities are still waiting for you tomorrow. But emotionally, it feels different. For a few hours, millions of people experience the same joy or disappointment together. And that's a powerful thing. But there's another reason the World Cup feels bigger than other tournaments. Most sports give you another chance next year. The World Cup doesn't. It only happens once every 4 years. And that changes the psychology completely. Imagine you're a player. You finally reach the World Cup at age 28. You lose in the quarterfinals. Your next chance comes when you're 32. Your chance after that? 36, if you're lucky. Many players only experience one World Cup. Some never get the opportunity at all. For fans, 4 years sounds like a long wait. For athletes, it's an eternity. A career can rise and fall in 4 years. A superstar can become forgotten. A teenager can become a legend. Everything changes. And because opportunities are so rare, every moment feels more valuable. A goal scored in a regular league match is exciting. A goal scored in a World Cup final becomes history. Children watch it, parents remember it. Decades later, people are still talking about it. Scarcity creates value. The less often something happens, the more special it becomes. And the World Cup has mastered scarcity better than any sporting event on Earth. But perhaps the biggest reason people love the World Cup has nothing to do with football itself. It's because the World Cup is a storytelling machine. Every tournament creates heroes. Every tournament creates villains. Every tournament creates moments nobody could have predicted. Think about your favorite movies. Most of them follow a similar formula. An underdog faces impossible odds, a hero rises, a giant falls, someone overcomes adversity, someone experiences heartbreak. The World Cup produces those stories naturally. No scriptwriters required. A small nation defeats a global powerhouse. An unknown player becomes famous overnight. A goalkeeper saves a crucial penalty. A superstar misses the biggest shot of their career. And because nobody knows what will happen next, the drama feels real. Because it is real, Hollywood can spend hundreds of millions of dollars creating suspense. The World Cup creates suspense simply by letting reality unfold. And reality can be far more dramatic than fiction. Every tournament gives us new stories, new legends, new unforgettable moments, moments that become part of football history forever. But perhaps the most incredible thing about the World Cup happens outside the stadium. For a few weeks, something rare occurs. The world pays attention to the same conversation. Think about how unusual that is today. Everyone watches different shows, uses different apps, follows different creators, lives in completely different information bubbles. Modern life is fragmented. Attention is scattered everywhere. Yet during the World Cup, billions of people focus on the same event. A goal scored in one country becomes a topic of discussion everywhere. A controversial referee decision sparks debates across continents. A celebration in one city is watched by millions of people who have never even visited that country. For a brief moment, humanity feels connected. Not because everyone agrees. Trust me, football fans rarely agree on anything, but because everyone is sharing the same experience, the same excitement, the same tension, the same anticipation, and maybe that's what makes the World Cup truly special. It's one of the few events left that reminds us how much we actually have in common. People speak different languages, live under different governments, follow different cultures, believe different things, yet they all understand the feeling of hoping their team scores. They all understand the tension of a penalty shootout. They all understand the joy of victory and the pain of defeat. Football becomes a universal language, and the World Cup becomes its biggest stage. So why is the FIFA World Cup the most popular sporting event on Earth? It's not because football is the most complicated sport. In fact, it's the opposite. It's because football is simple enough for anyone to play, accessible enough for anyone to understand, powerful enough to represent entire nations, rare enough to feel special, and unpredictable enough to create stories that nobody can forget. For 1 month every 4 years, billions of people laugh together, celebrate together, argue together, and dream together. One trophy, one tournament, one champion, but billions of emotional investments. And maybe that's why the World Cup isn't really about football at all. Football is just the vehicle. What people are actually watching is hope, identity, competition, dreams, and the possibility that this year, against all odds, their story might be the one the world remembers. And that is why, every 4 years, the FIFA World Cup becomes more than a sporting event. It becomes the closest thing humanity has to a shared global experience, the greatest show on Earth, and billions of people simply can't look away.